try to bring you the best information. So our topic today, what we want to concentrate today, what we want to share with you people today, our discussions in detail will be about deportation. Probably, of course, the word deportation, I would say it, I always say this, all the immigrants, being regularized or irregular, we all know what is deportation. As soon as you arrive in Europe, I think one of the, as soon as we arrive as immigrants, as soon as we arrive in Europe, one of the most important thing, or how, one of the most asked questions that we always ask is deportation. How can we prevent being deported? How can we stop our deportations? How can we help ourselves not to be deported? What are some of the processes and procedures that we can do in order to stop our deportation? This is why Radio RFM, with your host today, Yahya Sonko, we are going to talk about deportation. How can we stop our deportation? What are some of the things that can prevent? What are some of the things that might be helpful to help you to stop your deportations? Most of our brothers and sisters are going through a lot. Some are even leaving their work. Some are leaving their addresses. Some cannot even sleep at night because of deportation. So we deem it necessary today to talk about deportation. And this Bundesland we live in, this region we are living in Germany, in Baden-Württemberg, deportations are very powerful. It's like, deportations are taking place right now in Baden-Württemberg. So we want to discuss with our dear brothers and sisters, our listeners, deportation. What can we do? What are some of the strategies? How can we defeat the system in order to stop our deportations? Of course, not everyone cannot stay, but then at Radio RFM, our wish is to help each and every one of our dear brothers and sisters, our listeners, whom they are not granted to stay here, whom they are trying to regularize their stays in Germany. We want to help, we want to share, brainstorm with you people how best you can stop your deportation in Germany. So brothers and sisters, deportation at some point it becomes normal in our ears, because we, in our homes, in our camps, in the cities, villages where we lived, everywhere even our workplaces, we heard about deportations, in media, in social media. Always deportation is, people talk about deportation. Mr. So or Madam So or Mrs. So is deported, but then we usually, what we don't do is how, to discuss about, how to prevent Mr. or Mrs. not to be deported. So today we want to discuss with you people. We want to share with you people some of our experience, our personal experience, what we know about deportation, what can we do, in order to prevent our brothers and sisters being deported, So basically, this is why we are here today. This is why we bring you this topic, deportation. How can we stop deportation? How can we help somebody not to be deported? This is what we are going to talk in this 1 hour today. So brothers and sisters, most of us here, in one way or the other, many immigrants seek asylum. Even if not asylum, some will come here through regular means, but then they want to prolong their stays, basically. So when you seek asylum in Germany, let's start with asylum seekers. When you come to Germany, you seek asylum. There are two. I always put it this way: there are two possibilities. It's either you are accepted or you are rejected. If you are accepted, you say thank God. Then there are some so-called doors are open for you for integration. If you are rejected, then comes difficulties, challenges, and then comes time that they will ask you, authorities will start asking you to leave. You will start receiving letters that you should leave Germany at this period of time. You should leave voluntarily, or they will forcefully remove you from this country. That's how deportations usually come for asylum seekers. So today we want to this is how we want to put it. Let's talk about asylum seekers. How asylum seekers are informed about deportation. When you seek asylum, means you seek for protection. You are asking for protection, stay in Germany because of individual reasons, because of political reasons. You run away from, there something happens to you in your country, that you are no more safe. Let us put it this way: either it's going to be political persecutions, or you have issues, personal problems and issues that staying in your country, living in your country is like will only cause you danger. So basically, you leave your country to come to Europe, to run away from that trouble in your country, to come to Europe to seek for asylum. Means to seek for protection. So, of course, in Germany, BAMF is responsible for asylum. So you request asylum through BAMF, So then, of course, you don't just ask in Germany. You don't just ask asylum. You all know that you don't just ask asylum and then next minute you are granted. No, it doesn't work like that. They have to. There is a whole process and procedure that you have to go through. But that's not our topic today. Our topic is, we're going through that whole process and procedure. And if you are rejected or if you are refused, if they refused you, then means you have to. They either ask you to leave, voluntarily, or they will forcefully leave you. But then there are options. Okay, that's where deportation comes. When your asylum is rejected in Germany, asylum seekers, when you seek for asylum and your asylum is rejected, means they don't accept you. That the decision, that rejection decision comes with a letter, official letter. So there is always an official communication. You go, they send you official letter that go to come this date, so and so, this address, so and so for your interview. Means for you to come face BAMF authorities, BAMF staffs, for you to explain them what the reason, or you to give them reasons why they should leave you to stay in Germany, or they should give you a protection in Germany. When you go through that and you are rejected, that interview there is always an official communication. They send you official communication that you should come. When you are rejected equally, they send you an official communication that, well, we call you for asylum this date, you did your asylum, we went through with you the whole process, but then due to reasons so and so, they are not convinced of reasons you gave them. They are not convinced of your story, your asylum story. They are not convinced of reasons why they should leave you to stay here, or they should give you protection to stay in Germany. Those so-called reasons that, the reasons why, they did not accept you, or they refuse you, or they are not convinced. Then they will, this official communication will come to you. They will send you an official letter that will tell you that, well, we did not accept your asylum because of reasons so and so, or we are not convinced of yours. There is always an explanation. They try to explain to you, and they in fact quote it. They quote laws and regulations. Why they, of course, laws. They always quote laws. If you look at the official letter, the official rejection letters, they try to, quote what some of the reasons why they rejected your asylum. So that rejection, the point here is that rejection letter always goes with, a deportation order. Most likely, it always goes with deportation order. What does that mean? Here I am trying to explain to you. When your asylum is rejected, when you receive your rejection letter, okay, usually in normal circumstance, that official communication between you and BAMF that your asylum is been rejected, that official communication always comes with a deportation order. That deportation order, they clearly stated that you should leave Germany. You should leave their territory, Germany. They even put a time frame there. Leave our country, leave Germany from this time. They try to give you a time frame. That letter, that rejection, when your asylum is being rejected, when they send you that official communication, that letter, rejection letter, it usually goes with a deportation order. And why I am trying to explain this deportation order, because that's where deportation. That's where our challenges starts as immigrants in Germany. If you did not understand that, because why I'm trying to explain this, put more emphasis on that forced deportation order, because I saw in so many, I attend courts, courts hearings, I attend, some, like we try to challenge. I saw so many of our dear brothers and sisters in deportation detention centers, or before they even deport you, usually they take you to meet a judge. A judge will give you a deportation order. Okay, so usually the claim of some of our brothers and sisters will be, it's like, I have never been informed. I did not receive any deportation order, or I did not like nobody sent me any letter that I should leave this country. If you send me this letter, I could have left before, But then there comes, authorities will tell you, well, I think you are mistaken, because we sent you a deportation order, as far, they try to quote you, they try to, refer you back to your asylum rejectment letter. That asylum rejectment letter comes with deportation orders, dear brothers and sisters. So basically what I'm trying to say here is, some of you people, some of us, when our asylums are rejected, usually it comes with deportation order. That deportation order, that's where the problem starts for you. So what can you do? If your asylum is rejected, if you receive this deportation order, that did not, brothers and sisters, I always said this again, that did not mean the end of your life in Germany. That did not mean that everything is finished for you in Germany. It did not also mean that you must leave. Of course, the order says that you should leave. But then the deportation, the rejectment letter, if you are rejected, you are equally given a chance to appeal too. So take advantage. I always tell this to my dear brothers and sisters, to my colleagues, to my immigrant colleagues, that when you receive such rejectment letter, when you are rejected, when your asylum is rejected, what you need to do is look at the time frame, because they always give you a time. Okay, so like they always give you a time frame for you to appeal. If you wish to appeal, if you want to appeal against the decision of BAMF, you always have the time to do that. Sometimes it is 1 week, sometimes it's just a few weeks. But then what is important for you to know is you are always given a chance, a so-called chance for you to appeal against that decision. So brothers and sisters, that's where, that's one important thing, key important thing, a key important point where you can start challenging deportation orders. If you are rejected, I repeat, if your asylum is rejected, you receive your rejectment letter, that your refusal letter, that you have been refused. BAMF did not, agree with you, or they did not, they are not convinced. If you are rejected, simply, what you need to do now, my dear brothers and sisters, is look at that rejectment letter, look at the time frame, the time frame that they give you to appeal against a decision. The first thing you need to do, first thing I always advise my dear brothers and sisters, is look for a legal support, a lawyer. Because you need to now appeal against that decision. And to appeal against that decision, most likely you cannot do it by yourself. Okay, so what you need to do is immediately, that's number one point that is very, very important for immigrants who are in asylum, or whom they received such letters. So look at the time frame. If they said 1 week, appeal this decision before 1 week. Make sure you appeal the decision before 1 week. How will you appeal the decision? Go and look for a lawyer if you did not have one. Immediately. And the counting start from the day that letter was delivered to your address. Some, again, I will go back a little bit. Some will still claim that I never received a letter. But I am trying to tell you, as a brother to you, here, I am trying to tell you, BAMF, they try to protect that letter in a sense that even if they send it to you through post, as soon as the postman or this post office delivered that letter, that deportation order or that rejectment letter to your address, BAMF is always notified that Mr. Sonko, Mrs. So, Madam So, Mr. So receive this letter, this particular date and this particular date at this particular time. So, as soon as that letter arrived at your address, that's where the counting start for Banff. So if they said 1 week, you are given 1 week to appeal against that decision. Here, what does that mean? It means from that day to 7 days. From that day, because 1 week is 7 days. So what I am trying to say is, as soon as you got that decision, you received the decision from Banff, and they give you a time frame that you need to appeal. The counting start from that very day that this letter touches or landed in at your address. Brothers and sisters, this is very, very important. This is giving challenge, problem, trouble to most of our brothers and sisters who are in asylum. And I am seeing that thousands of our African brothers are currently coming to Europe. So, and it's almost the same in all European countries. I will repeat. If you went through an asylum, your asylum is rejected. When they send you official communication that your asylum is rejected, and that communication, they categorically put it there clearly that you can appeal. The appeal, there is always a time frame. That time frame is very, very important. The days that they give you start, the counting start immediately the day you receive that letter. So if they said 1 week, the day you receive that letter, or the day that letter was dropped at your address, that was the day BAM start counting. That's how the counting start. So basically, some of the challenges or problems that I encounter as somebody who help my fellow brothers and sisters is that sometimes they will, let's say example, they will drop this letter in your address Thursday. Before you and probably you have only 1 week to appeal against this decision. Okay, so if they drop this letter Thursday, you were not, let's assume that you are not in your address Thursday, Friday, then comes Monday and Tuesday. So let's say Monday or Tuesday you come. Now you have only 2 days before the week finish, something like this. So what will happen here is, the problem for many is now is, you come, like, let's say you are not at your address. You have this rejectment letter or this deportation order on this rejectment letter. Your asylum has been rejected. You receive this letter on Thursday, Friday, and you are not at home. Let's say example, you stay also weekend outside. You come back Monday or Tuesday. You found that you have a letter at your address. You open this letter, it is your rejectment letter, and you are given only 1 week. So when we go by this explanation, now you are left with 2 or 3 days. Usually, these 2 or 3 days, it's very, very difficult for lawyers also to accept you, because they are saying that, look, we are running out of time. So if you did not have a lawyer already, sometimes it's very challenging. It's very difficult. I am trying to explain you. I'm trying to break down these things because they are very, very important. These are some of the troubles that our brothers and sisters are facing. That's where most of our problems started. That is where sometimes you will even have a rejectment letter. You receive the letter, but then you cannot appeal because the time, the time they gave you, let's say, is 1 week. Before you read, or you try to find somebody. If you cannot read that letter, you must look for somebody who can read this letter for you or translate what this letter is saying. I think what I'm trying to say here is very, very important. As an asylum seeker, if your asylum is rejected, that rejectment comes with deportation order. That rejectment letter, in order to appeal, try to do your utmost best the very day you receive this letter. If you have a lawyer, make sure that very day you communicate to your lawyer. Send an email. Take a good picture of it. Send it to your email, to your lawyer's email, As soon as you receive this letter, most of the lawyers, they do operate or they communicate with us through emails. So as soon as somebody who is on asylum process, your asylum is rejected, the very day you receive this letter, this rejectment letter, first of all, look at it, open it, okay? They will give you the time frame. Immediately from that spot, try to communicate to your legal representative. Contact your lawyer immediately. Call your lawyer immediately. Take a good picture of it and send it through email to your lawyer. Let your lawyer get it. Sometimes what I would even advise our brothers and sisters is email your lawyer, but equally call your lawyer. If he or she did not receive the call, probably if he or she got secretaries, they will receive the call. If the secretary, if not the lawyer, but the secretaries, or the secretaries receive this call, make sure, let them understand the importance of that call. Inform the lawyer that I received a rejection letter, or I received a letter. Here it is. I send it to your email. If some lawyers are very flexible, if you are not far from your lawyer, I will advise you. What I do advise is pick that lawyer immediately from your address. Get inside a bus or a train, travel to your lawyer. Make sure you deliver this letter to your lawyer immediately, so that your lawyer can take immediate steps. So that your lawyer can take immediate action. This is very, very important. Because when your lawyer appeal, now you again have a little bit time to prepare yourself again. Because if your lawyer appeal against the decision of BAMF, of course, most likely it goes through a court process. They might call you for some court sittings. Okay, now you have another time, another chance to prepare yourself to look at the reasons why you were rejected before. If you are asked to bring any evidence, any material proof that will back your asylum story, that will back your story, now is the time. You again have a little bit time, to prepare yourself to bring that proof, to bring that material evidence. That, let's say, example, I'm giving example. Let's assume that you are wanted in your country. You are somebody whom you are wanted in your country. If there is a wanted police certificate, or authorities issued a document that indicates you are wanted, probably that time, during this time you can bring that. If you have any certificate, any documentation that has connection with your asylum story, and you were not able to bring this during your first interview, you are rejected, your lawyer appeal now. Now you have time to bring this evidence. They will, these are supporting documents or supporting evidence to help your case, to help your story. Brothers and sisters, because if you did not appeal within that time frame BAMF stipulated in that rejection letter, if the time frame elapses, what will happen is you don't have any other chance to appeal. They don't give you the chance. Except and until if there is probably you have an accident, you are very sick, but then here again it must goes with of course documentation that indicates that yes, you were sick, you got accident this day or this time, you were at hospital, this and that. Your lawyer can use that still. But then that's where my advice is, please, we are talking about deportation, and this is where deportation tracks start. Because if you did not appeal against that decision, if your asylum is rejected, you did not have time to appeal. The time frame they gave you, to appeal elapses. Now, brothers and sisters, you are in trouble. You are in a big shit. I'm sorry. You are in a big challenge. If the time frame that you were given to appeal against a decision, BAMF decision, you did not appeal within that time frame, whether you don't have a lawyer, whether you did not probably understand the letter, whether you did not you were not at your address, but then the time elapses. There you are in a problem, because what will happen is like you cannot appeal now, and if you did not appeal now, what will happen? It's more or less, it make your case worse for you. Their police or authorities might take steps. Authorities might inform themselves. They might take decisions against you. They might take actions like, forcefully try to arrest you or forcefully try to remove you from this country. So, brothers and sisters, the point here is, what I am trying to say is, if you are rejected, your asylum is rejected, please do your utmost best to immediately, don't waste time, immediately appeal against that decision. I repeat, if your asylum is rejected, you receive the rejectment letter, do not waste a single day. Do not waste a single day with that letter. If you receive the letter, immediately communicate to your lawyer. If you did not have a lawyer, try to find one immediately. If you did not have one, what you can also do is immediately look for counseling centers. They might help you, like the Refugee Council of Baden-Württemberg, like Caritas. There are some organizations too whom they are very supportive when it comes to issues like this. Brothers and sisters, we will go for a short commercial break, and we will back from there.
Only underground radio station.
This is Radio Ara. This is Overhits.
Switch on.
You listen to my favorite radio station.
This is Tabula Washa, the Black Eyed Peas.
Hey, I'm Tinashe.
This is Kapadenis Legrand Mukulukulu, Mwana wa Zambia.
This is Flame Nation. Hashtag Flame Nation. Flame Nation. Bringing you the best African vibes from Nairobi, Kenya.
Welcome to Kenya, bro.
Thank you so much.
When giving us an intro, kidogo.
Hey, my name is Roberto.
To the world.
Unapata, when an old man is dating a young girl, there is no issue.
Not at all.
There is no taboo, like it's fine.
Also, PFC ukata.
Listen.
Activating.
DJ Cisse.
This year's getting me critical. Make a bad boy ever since standard 2.
Different.
Just three.
And I don't stand people who are quick to judge others. When it comes to a fine mama dating a young man, it is an issue. Wewe ngoja ile siku itakupata umekaukiwa, utajua hautataka kujua nini.
Rockin' with the best.
Yes, sir. The meantime, mziki bado tunasonga nalo. Teke, Daddy Yankee. You remember this guy? Give me the tune.
This is Flame Nation. Flame Nation. Flame Nation. On Radio Ara. Me and my crew. Hit music. Dance.
What's going on, guys? This is Post Malone.
LFM.
Jet plane headed out to the city. Take me back to London. I do deals, but I never get twanged. Moves that ain't never been planned.
It's my dilemma.
What you need to do is be thankful.
The one you listen to in the morning, when you wake up, all day, on your way home, and all night long.
On Radio Ara. Your day gonna sound better when you choose to listen in 99.2.
Now you're serious. You're not just kidding me.
Radio Ara.
So good.
Live from Stuttgart City, Germany.
I welcome you all back again at Radio RFM. Like I said, today we are talking about deportations. Yes, a very important, touching topic for that matter, deportations. Because there are so many of our brothers and sisters who are going through a lot of challenges when it comes to deportations. Yeah, we were trying to talk about the first 30 minutes. We were trying to discuss or talk about where deportation start for most of us. To summarize, we said that usually some of us are asylum seekers. Many of us are asylum seekers. Or many of us seek asylum in Germany. And that asylum, I always say there are two ways. It's either you are accepted, you're granted asylum, or you are rejected. And if you are granted asylum, doors are open for you for integrations and other fort buildings. If you are rejected, there comes challenges, a lot of challenges. the biggest and the most threatening challenge is deportation. Under deportation, start somewhere. So that's what we were talking about the last 30 minutes or more. Well, we said it starts when your asylum is rejected. There is an official communication that is sent to you. That official communication, that rejectment official communication, usually you receive a letter, a rejectment letter, we call it sometimes. That rejectment letter usually comes with deportation orders. But then again, we said that the one important thing when you receive that letter is immediately your reaction should be to understand what is the letter. If you did not understand it, make sure you look for somebody who understands that letter. And the best advice I always give is look for a legal advisor. That is a lawyer. If you have one, immediately inform your lawyer through email or through telephone call or even visiting his or her office to submit this rejectment letter. Because if you did not look for a lawyer or a legal support or a counseling center, there are offices that are also very helpful in terms of counseling. They give you guidance and counseling. But then the best advice is, because even those guidance and counseling centers usually end up linking you with a lawyer. So my first advice is look for a lawyer. Let that lawyer, if he or she is your lawyer, immediately he or she knows what to do. That is to appeal against the decision of BAMF. Well, BAMF, in that rejectment letter, there is always a time frame. They give you a little bit time frame, sometimes a week for you to appeal. So the asylum seekers, we cannot appeal because there are some legal processes and procedures you need to follow in order to appeal. So basically, most of the times we are not in a position to appeal by ourselves. So we need a lawyer. So that lawyer knows immediately what to do. The lawyer will appeal within the time frame. What will happen if you don't have the lawyer? We said, we are still summarizing what we talk about. If you did not appeal within the time frame, there comes the difficulty. That's where the first threat of deportations come. Authorities might take action. That is because you did not appeal against that decision. So, and the decision, the rejectment decisions comes, there are informations. They ask you to leave the country within this time frame. Sometimes weeks, sometimes 30 days. So, if you did not appeal, means you should leave that country, you should leave Germany within that time frame that they put in your time frame stipulated in your rejectment letter. We don't want any of our brothers and sisters to go through this. That's why we are saying that first action should be receive this letter immediately. Take it to your lawyer. If you don't have one, look for one immediately. You should try to appeal the decision within the time frame. Very, very important. Now we will continue with the topic. Yes, deportation. How some people do their utmost best to stop their deportation. If you appeal against this decision, it takes time sometimes. Weeks, months. I saw in some cases even years. Yes, it takes weeks, months, in some instances even years. If you appeal, usually you wait for another call to go for interview or to go to court, to sit in front of a judge with your lawyer, if you have a lawyer. to defend why you still need protection from Germany. What I advise my dear brothers and sisters is, most of the time, how I help some of my colleagues to get prepared for this is, if you are rejected, sometimes there are reasons why they reject you. Maybe you don't provide enough evidence. Maybe you did not provide enough materials to support your story. I mean, enough, documents, supporting documents to support your story. If this was your case, if it was because of the time frame you could not get yourself prepared, before BAMF call you or before the courts call you to go and answer to them again, to appeal against the decision, to sit in front of a judge, try, if you have evidence, supporting documents that might help your story, that has connections with your story, try to provide, try to bring all these things, try to supply your legal support, your legal team with all these documents, if they have connection with your story. If you can provide evidence, if you can provide supporting documents that has connections with your story, these are usually very helpful for your lawyer to present during that sitting. This helps a lot. Another thing is, what I do advise myself and all my brothers and sisters is, brothers and sisters, when you appeal, sometimes you have a time frame. I said weeks, months, sometimes even years. Don't sit and fold your hands, that thinking that you are okay. During this time frame, during this time you have, take advantage of integration if you are given. I said take advantage of integration if you got the chance from the authorities. If you did not, because not all are supported in terms of this integration support. It sometimes depends on individual situations. It depends on our land crisis. It depends on sometimes the area we are living. Sometimes luck. But what is important here is, if your case, if you appeal against the decision of BAMF, immediately what I do advise myself and dear brothers and sisters is, look possibilities of start learning the language immediately, because that learning that language will lead you to somewhere. Learning that language will be a stepping stone for you. Learning that language might lead you to your house building. That house building might lead you to house building duldung. Learning that language might lead you to have a job. That job might still lead you to train that job as a profession through house building, vocational training. The time you have when your lawyer appeal or when you appeal against the decision of BAMF, this time, this months or years you have, take chance of it, take advantage of it. Get into integration by learning the language, by trying to get into a job. Try to look for a work. Cooperate with the system. Sometimes even cooperate in terms of identification. I am not saying that just go jump and give your passport to the authorities. No, that's not my advice. But here what I am trying to say is, if your asylum is rejected, you appeal against the decision. Now the most important thing is you need to do is start integrating yourself within the society you are living. By learning the language, by looking for job, take jobs. If you are given a working permit, arbeit allowance. Not all, of course, I understand not all are given chance to work. But usually that also has a connection with, are you ready, are you cooperative to identify yourself or not? But then, try to integrate yourself. Try to get yourself into integration. Because the more you integrate yourself, the more connected, the more you get yourself involved in German society, the more doors are open for you. Yes, deportations are always there. Yes, authorities, they always try to deport us. They do their utmost best to push us out. But then there are certain processes and procedures. There are certain integration processes and procedures, my brothers and sisters. If we follow that, they cannot deport you. It's very hard for them to deport you. Yes, I repeat, my dear brothers and sisters, authorities in Germany, they always try to push us. They always do their utmost best to return us, to push us back, to return us back to our country. But the little time we have, when we appeal against the decision, that time you have, also take advantage of that time to follow certain integration processes and procedures. Those integration processes and procedures, when you follow the due processes in terms of integration, sometimes it is also very hard for authorities to deport you. Yes, they always what we see or what we saw is they're always trying to look for chances, possibilities to push us away. But then I am saying is, if you follow certain processes in terms of integration, like learn the language, try to have the first, learn the language quickly. Try to have the first German language level, A1, A2, jump to B1 if there is possibility for you. Yes, I know the question always comes, what if they don't give me German language courses? Yes, if they did not give you, I understand. But think about your future. We are talking about your future. Your brother is talking to you. This is not a German authority talking to you. This is not a Landesamt, Ausländerbehörde people talking to you. I am talking to you as a brother. How you can defeat the system. If you are rejected, you appeal against that decision. You have now little time to prepare yourself. Use that time to learn the language. Use that time to integrate yourself. How? Try to get job. Try to cooperate. And have a good job. Start building yourself. Through that job, you might get into an house building, brothers and sisters. If you are rejected, that time you have now, if you appeal against a decision, if you are rejected, you appeal against a decision, that time, when you appeal process is going at court or anywhere, now the time you have is what I always advise myself and my dear brothers and sisters, use that time to look into integration. How to learn the language. Try to get the A1, A2, B1, go like that. If there is a possibility of doing house building, jump into that house building. Try to grab that chance, because that might lead you to an house building duldung. I mean, if there is a chance for you to get it, go. If you are offered to do an house building through your work, go. Grab that chance. Don't waste time. Do not waste your time. If you are in such situation, you are working, your workplace, ask them if they can offer you house building, if you want to do it. If not, even if in case they offer you house building, grab that chance, my dear brothers and sisters, as quickly as possible. Because that might help you to at least put a stop on your deportation, if everything is okay with you. These are some of the things we can try to do to escape from the deportation trend, to escape from deportation traps, to escape from the deportation lists. But if you are rejected, you did not appeal, the time elapses, well, you have a big shit. You are in big shit. You are in big problem. Don't wait till your my last advice for my dear brothers and sisters is, if you are an asylum seeker, you are rejected, the time frame that they gave you, do not wait till that time frame elapses. Make sure you appeal against that decision as soon as possible. And if you appeal the decision, now the little time you have, get into integration as quickly as possible. Learn the language. Try to have job if you are given chance. Brothers and sisters, today this is all what we have for you today. We're running out. Our time. Of course, we're talking about time here. So our time in the radio, also Radio R, elapses for now. So for that being the case, we are very, very happy to be here with you all today. And like I said, follow us every Sunday, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock every Sunday.